So he thinks Kyle Tucker could be in that class that goes north of $500 million. He's got Ellie De La Cruz also in that category. He kind of talks about Ellie being more of a superstar because the way he plays and how funny is his numbers for his career. He's a 252, 328, 444 career hitter who's got a lot of swing and miss in his game, but he's still an impactful player. I think he's already about just a little over a win so far this season, even though he hasn't come out of the gate like a bat out of hell. He's still, I think, just at right about a win on Baseball Reference right now. He writes, De La Cruz is electric, no question, but he must offer multiple MVP caliber seasons to be in the conversation of getting $500 million when free agency arrives. He still has a couple of years, and then he's got Gunnar Henderson in the group at $600 million. And he said, Henderson is the only player mentioned by every executive I talked to as the best bet to potentially beat Soto. And even then, executives agreed it's a long shot. Henderson debuted at 21. He'll reach free agency after 28 at age 27, the 28th season. He plays a far more important position than Soto's right field. And even if Henderson does eventually move to third, the potential advantage still will be true. In his first 2 full seasons, Henderson has already put up more than 15 wins above replacement, including a 9-win showing last year that was better than any year Soto has ever posted. Even then, Henderson needs more years of consistent quality before he'll be looking at besting $600 million, let alone $765. So a few guys in that conversation, but the guy that's going to get paid first, Yerk, is going to be Kyle Tucker. And the big question is going to be, will the Cubs pay him? And I think Cub fans are fearful that they simply will not. And they should be fearful of that.
Well, I mean, if you look at historically, they've been willing to spend on Soriano. They spent on Hayward, right?
They did.
They've spent on those two guys.
185 on Hayward. Is that what
they haven't?
They spent on Lester.
Yeah, they spent on Lester.
It's not $500 million,
right? Well, I mean, the price of baseball is the price of baseball. The economics of it all are dependent upon what they're bringing in. You know, and just because Marquee hasn't necessarily taken off doesn't mean that you haven't reaped the rewards of whatever the current media situation is in Major League Baseball. They're getting checks. Everybody knows, you know, all Major League Baseball teams know how much they get and what's coming through the pipeline.
Baseball's revenues have been tremendous.
Dare I say also that baseball revenues aren't dependent upon turnstiles.
Right.
People walking through the turnstiles. If you have that, that's a bonus. But it's become less and less and less. How many people come to the ballpark is what your business model is dependent upon. Mm-hmm. So they know what the business of baseball is. They know what it's about. If you simply say to yourself that we're not willing to compete when teams that aren't in the third market can still find a way to compete, then you've got to ask yourself, what the hell are you doing? And I'd be asking, Ricketts, what the hell are you doing?
I think the Cubs were 4th in revenue according to a lot of the projections from last year, Yerk. Baseball's revenue in general was tremendous last year, about just a little over 12 billion, about 500 million more than the previous year. 12 billion in revenue last year. The business of baseball is good, like you said.
Business of baseball is doing very well.
Their advanced media division, that arm, that BAM Tech arm that we talked about for all those years that Disney bought. Remember, Disney bought 1/3 of that company for $1 billion. That's a $3 billion valuation. That's just the BAM Tech arm.
Yes.
That they bought. So the revenues in baseball are there. And the money's there.
You just have to decide if you want to spend.
Not.
You have to just decide whether you want to spend or not. And right now, Ricketts is, I don't want to spend.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's got his budget. They set it. They don't really go over it. They're not about the business of going over it. That's the way they do things. They've bought into the fall. Remember what Word said? Stanley Cups cost money.
Yes.
And he didn't want to really get to the Stanley Cup. He just wanted to compete in the playoffs, and that was fine for him.
Just tease your fans.
And that's Reinsdorf's philosophy that he gave the world.
Yes.
Gave the world. That you're paying for it everywhere.
Just tease them.
Grandmothers that don't even care about baseball pay their cable bill, and guess what? I still get paid.
Right.
And that's what they're trying to set up now with CHSN.
Yes.
They're trying to set it up the same way they had it, where, the grandmother, 98 years old, she barely knows she's alive and she still pays her cable bill. She's still paying the White Sox an X amount of dollars. That's what they're trying to break away from. That's what they don't want to give Chizen, but Reinsdorf set that up. And Ricketts now believes in the philosophy. All I got to do is put somewhat of a winner on there. Do I really need to win? Not really. If If I can put a winner on there, that's all that matters. And in a division like this, I mean, I think the Cubs are really doing well. They're kind of outpacing the expectations that a lot of people have had for them.
They're going
And over the
96
season,
win pace.
That's a lot of wins there, Carm.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wins. So, but I think every owner is just kind of like, hey, I'd like to compete. I'd like to get into the playoffs, and we've got more playoff positions than we ever had.
Right.
And you know what?
And we'll take a chance.
And that's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah. Get to the dance. We'll be on the dance floor, and we'll hope we're not going to get tapped on the shoulder and said, you're out of the dance competition. You hope you just keep continuing.
Some owners will go balls to the wall. You know,
Yeah.
Certainly George Steinbrenner used to. I still think the Yankees to a large degree do. Steve Cohen obviously does. It seems like Ishbia does, right? Matt Ishbia in Phoenix.
Yeah.
With the Suns. Now,
different sports.
It's
you're starting to cross-pollinate for me.
I'm just saying, like, some of these owners that have funny money, like, and they're not constrained by a salary cap in baseball or in basketball. You are to a certain degree, but you can pay your luxury tax.
Yeah.
Some guys don't care about that.
Yeah, the Larry Bird exemption. That's what I like.
The Larry Bird exception. Yeah, the bird rights.
Bird rights.
Like Ishbia doesn't mind exceeding that threshold and paying a tax. Now, it's been largely a disaster. I'll give him credit, I guess, for
being willing to go there.
Like in being willing to say, damn, I've screwed a lot of this up. We got to keep changing things until we get it right. I mean, you can't do that forever. I mean, the idea that they're going on now, what? This will be a fourth coach in 4 years? Is that right? I think it is. That's ludicrous.
It's unsustainable.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't sustain a program that way.
And so, but he's shown the willingness where it's not just, hey, I want to be competitive and I'll just tease my fans. Like, I think he's serious and genuine. And I think his actions would show you that. Now, he hasn't been perfect, and they've screwed up plenty. You're giving Bradley Beal no trade clauses? What? You fired another coach? Like, it's kind of been a disaster, but his mentality seems to be that of, like, opposite of what you said. I want to win. I don't want to just tease my fans. I will do whatever it takes. And I think they know that often that means spending a lot of money and spending the most money. I think they're taking what they've done in business and they're bringing it to their sports franchises. And normally, when you can buy your way out of bad decisions, a lot of times good things happen.